You were born on a battlefield. Now, see where this long war began and where it ends. Israel. Join Derek and Sharon Gilbert and special guest Carl Teichrieb in the Holy Land this October, where you'll see things like this.
And the reason we are spending so much time in this film on this topic in this place, because we went lots more places after this, is because it is central to the theme of this film, the search for the Rephaim. Derek makes the case that the Titans, we searched for the Titans in our first film from 2018, that they are the Watchers.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say then, honey, that the Rephaim are the Olympians?
No, I would say that the Rephaim would be the giants. Remember that...
The Nephilim.
The Nephilim, yes. Different names for the same entities, but Rephaim applies to the Nephilim after the flood.
Okay, the reason I asked that is because the Olympians were the children of the Titans.
Correct, but they were fully divine, whereas the Nephilim were semi-divine.
That's true. Well, that's an interesting thing. How could they be fully divine? I mean, what lying is taking place in the nether realm? Let's pretend to be this, you pretend to be that.
Oh, yes, absolutely. That was the distinction. The Olympians were fully God, whereas the Nephilim were the children of mortals and the gods. Although there are stories in the Greek, among the Greeks, of the giants being created from the blood that flowed from Uranus when he was castrated by Kronos of the Titans.
Which takes us to something, and we're going to warn you, this is speculation, but if you look at a map, and I think you've got one that you can put up in this visual presentation, of the megalithic sites in the Levant area.
And specifically dolmens, which are those funerary monuments.
Yes, you will find that they follow the rift.
Yes.
From south to north.
The Jordan Rift Valley, between northern Syria and the Dead Sea. Those dolmens are clustered along in the Rift Valley for some unknown reason. Now, it's possible that that's just because that's where the rocks were closest to the surface because of the geologic activity. Or it's because of a memory of something that took place somewhere along that rift that caused that scar in the earth.
Exactly. Could it be that it has something to do with rock that was expelled when the rift was formed? What if that rift was formed when something was thrown into the earth?
What if that was the location where the Titans were, the Watchers were thrust down to Tartarus?
We have the one word.
Yes, 2 Peter 2:4. The word is Tartarau in Greek, which means literally thrust down to Tartarus. So what if the myths, legends that developed around the Titans who lost their war with the Olympians and were confined to Tartarus by Zeus and the Olympians, again, a twisted version of the biblical story. What if this was the location? And remember, Bashan, place of the serpent, known to the Canaanites of the ancient world as the literal entrance to the underworld, ruled over by a god called Raphaim, which is a singular form of Refaim, who reigned at Ashtaroth and Edrei, which were the cities at the center of the kingdom of Og of Bashan.
Absolutely, and we get back to the Joshua altar because Joshua he was told by the Lord, this is your first battle. Go against Og of Bashan.
Yes, right. And we will talk more about this a little later in this film when we visit the actual altar of Joshua.
Exactly. And we want to also make sure you understand when we connect Joshua's altar to Gilgal Raphaim, think of Gilgal Raphaim as the fallen realm placing their imprint upon the earth.
Mm-hmm. We can't stress enough that this is within line of sight of Mount Hermon.
Exactly.
This is the ancient kingdom of Bashan, which the ancient world believed to be an evil place. In the Ugaritic tongue, around the time of the judges, Bathan would have been the way they pronounced it, which literally meant place of the serpent. And we are one of the very few tours of Israel that has gone to see it, and we'll go again. Join Derek and Sharon Gilbert and special guest, researcher, author, and lecturer Carl Teichrieb in Israel, October 19th through 30th, 2025. This is not the typical tour of Israel. For information and to reserve your place on the 2025 Gilbert House Tour of Israel, please log on to gilberthouse.org/travel. That's gilberthouse.org/travel.